The rain-slashed window of the penthouse shattered under his fist, glass exploding like the fragile lies he'd built his life around. Blood trickled warm down his knuckles, mixing with the downpour outside. But Austin didn't feel it, only the cold burn of betrayal twisting in his gut like a knife his father had wielded from afar. "You think you know me, Dad?" he whispered to the empty room, voice cracking like thunder, as the hidden camera's red light blinked mockingly from the corner, capturing every tear-streaked second of his unraveling. In the sterile glow of a Manhattan boardroom, Richard Hale stared at the live feed on his laptop, his billionaire empire forgotten in the vice of horror gripping his chest. His son, his golden boy, heir to Hale Industries, crumpling like paper in the storm, all because of him. The truth he'd spied on wasn't the scandal he'd feared, it was a love so fierce it demanded everything, including the walls Richard had built to keep Austin safe from a world that chewed up men like them. Austin slammed the door to his father's penthouse, the echo ricocheting off the marble floors like a gunshot in the dead of night. New York City sprawled below, a glittering beast indifferent to the war raging in his veins. He'd come here straight from the airport, fresh off a red-eye from LA, chasing the ghost of a reconciliation that now felt like a fool's errand. His dad had summoned him, urgent family matter, but the welcome was a locked door and a note from the housekeeper, "Mr. Hale is in a meeting. Make yourself at home." What a joke. This towering fortress of glass and steel on the Upper East Side had never felt like anything but a cage. Gilded bars his father had forged from love twisted into control. Austin tossed his duffel bag onto the leather sectional, the thud swallowed by the opulent silence. At 28, he was a man carved from the sharp edges of independence, freelance photographer chasing sunsets in the canyons of California, far from the boardrooms where Richard Hale brokered deals that moved markets. But blood called to blood, and Austin had answered, hoping this time the old man might see him as more than a disappointment in khakis. He poured a scotch from the bar cart, the amber liquid burning a path down his throat, steadying the tremor in his hands. The city lights blurred through the floor-to-ceiling windows, a mosaic of lives intersecting in the dark. Austin's reflection stared back, hazel eyes shadowed by exhaustion, chestnut hair tousled from the flight, the faint scar on his jaw from a bar fight in his reckless 20s. He looked like his mother, or so people said, the one who'd left them both when Austin was 12. Fleeing to Paris with a painter who promised freedom over fortune. Richard had never recovered, he'd armored himself in acquisitions and anonymity, spying on competitors but blind to the sun slipping through his fingers. The scotch warmed him, loosening the knot in his chest. He pulled out his phone, thumb hovering over Ethan's name. "Miss you already?" He'd texted from the gate at LAX. And Ethan's reply, a heart emoji and "come back soon, cowboy," had been his lifeline through the turbulence. With his easy laugh and calloused hands from years on oil rigs turned environmental activist, had crashed into Austin's world like a desert storm 6 months ago. They'd met at a queer film festival in Palm Springs. Austin behind the lens capturing the crowd's electric vulnerability, Ethan in the front row, his broad shoulders and sun-kissed skin drawing Austin's gaze like gravity. One shared cigarette under the stars, a brush of fingers that lingered too long, and the spark ignited into something neither could deny. But Ethan was a complication Richard would never understand. Austin pocketed the phone, unwilling to let the distance fracture what they'd built. Instead, he wandered the penthouse, footsteps muffled on Persian rugs, trailing fingers over the cold chrome of modern art his father collected like trophies. In the study, Richard's sanctum, off-limits since Austin was a kid, he paused. The door was ajar, a sliver of shadow inviting rebellion. He pushed it open. The room smelled of leather and aged whiskey, walls lined with first editions and awards that gleamed under recessed lighting. Austin's eyes snagged on the desk, a sleek laptop humming softly, screensaver cycling through Hale Industries logos. Curiosity, that old thief, pulled him closer. The chair creaked as he sat, the leather molding to him like an ill-fitting suit. He tapped the spacebar, and the screen woke, not to spreadsheets, but to a grainy feed. His breath hitched. It was his own apartment in Echo Park. The camera angle was wrong, too high, too centered on the king-sized bed where he'd left Ethan sprawled that morning. Sheets tangled around his hips. Austin's heart hammered as he clicked through tabs, archived footage, timestamps marking days. His morning coffee ritual. Late-night sketches on his drafting table. Austin and Ethan, bodies entwined in the soft dawn light. Ethan's mouth tracing the line of Austin's spine. Whispers of I love you captured in high definition. The violation hit like ice water, freezing him in place. His father had been watching. Spying. Not on enemies across oceans, but on his son, in the most intimate corners of his life. Nausea rose, hot and bitter. Austin shoved back from the desk, chair toppling with a crash that echoed his fracturing world. He bolted to the window, fists clenched, the city a mocking blur. You bastard, he growled, voice raw. Rain lashed the glass now, a sudden squall mirroring the storm inside. How long? Richard had always been distant, approving Austin's artistic pursuits, with a checkbook but no questions, no pride. Was this his way of caring? Or controlling? The door to the penthouse clicked open downstairs, footsteps ascending the spiral staircase. Austin froze, pulse thundering. He could confront him now, shatter the illusion of the perfect patriarch. Or he could run, back to Ethan, to the life he'd carved without Hale money staining it. But the footage burned in his mind, Ethan's vulnerability exposed, their love commodified into pixels. This ended tonight. Richard Hale entered the study like a king reclaiming his throne. Suit impeccable, silver hair slicked back, the faint lines around his steel blue eyes betraying the weight of empires. At 62, he was a titan, Forbes' most eligible widower, architect of green energy revolutions that masked the ruthless deals beneath. He stopped short at the sight of Austin, face paling as he clocked the overturned chair, the laptop screen frozen on a frame of Ethan's bare back, tattoo of a soaring eagle inked across it. Austin, Richard said, voice steady but laced with the gravel of too many boardroom battles. He closed the door softly, as if sealing a vault. I didn't expect you this early, Austin whirled, hazel eyes blazing. Save it. How long have you been playing Big Brother in my bedroom? The silence stretched, taut as a wire. Richard's jaw tightened, but he didn't deny it. Instead, he crossed to the bar cart in the corner, pouring 2 fingers of scotch with deliberate calm. Sit down, son. This isn't what you think, isn't it? Austin snatched the glass Richard offered, slamming it back in one gulp, the burn fueling his rage. You installed cameras in my home. Watched me, this, like some twisted reality show. That? Afraid your queer kid's gonna tarnish the family name? Or just curious how the freak show unfolds? Richard flinched, the word landing like a slap. He sank into the armchair opposite, rubbing his temples. It started with the threats. Letters. Saying they'd expose you if I didn't pull funding from the offshore wind project. I thought. Protection. Hired a firm. They overstepped. Threats. Austin laughed. Bitter and hollow. To me? Or to your precious portfolio? To you. Richard's voice cracked, the mask slipping. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, the posture of a man unaccustomed to vulnerability. You're my son, Austin. The only thing that matters. After your mother left, I swore I'd keep you safe. But you shut me out, moved across the country? Barely a call. When those letters came, painting you as a target because of who you are, I panicked. The cameras were meant to monitor the building, not invade my soul. Austin paced, the room closing in. Rain drummed a frantic rhythm outside, mirroring his pulse. He wanted to hate Richard, to see only the cold mogul who'd sent him to conversion camps at 16. Whispering this phase will pass while Austin sobbed in the night. But the pain in his father's eyes, raw, unguarded, cracked something open. You saw everything. You know about Ethan. And you still think I'm the one who needs saving. Richard's gaze dropped to the carpet, shame etching deeper lines. I saw a man who loves you. Deeply. The way he looks at you. It's how I looked at your mother. Before it all went to hell. He swallowed hard, voice thickening. But the threats escalated. Last week, someone broke into your place while you were at that festival. Took nothing, but left a photo of you two kissing. Austin's blood ran cold. The festival, Palm Springs, where Ethan had proposed they move in together under the festival lights. Rings of cheap twine around their fingers as vows. A thief in their sanctuary, turning love into leverage. Why didn't you tell me? Because I failed you once. Richard stood, closing the distance, hand hovering near Austin's shoulder but not touching. I pushed you away, trying to fix what I couldn't understand. But this? I won't let it touch you. Not Ethan. Not your life. For a heartbeat, Austin searched those blue eyes, seeing not the billionaire, but the father who'd taught him to ride a bike on Central Park paths, who'd held him through nightmares after Mom's goodbye letter. The rage ebbed, leaving exhaustion in its wake. Then help me end it. No more cameras. No more secrets. Richard nodded, a ghost of relief softening his features. Agreed. But stay here tonight. Storm's bad. We'll talk to the investigators tomorrow. Austin hesitated, the penthouse feeling less like a prison now, more like a fragile truce. He texted Ethan, family drama. Might be a day. Love you. The reply buzzed instant. Handle your old man. I'm you. A smile tugged at Austin's lips. Faint but real. For the first time in years, the space between father and son felt bridgeable. As they shared a late dinner, takeout Thai from the place on 72nd that Richard remembered Austin loved, the conversation skirted edges. Richard asked about photography. Genuinely. Eyes lighting when Austin described a shoot in Joshua Tree, capturing queer couples against alien rockscapes. Austin probed the threats, learning they traced to a rival exec, bitter over a lost bid, using Austin's visibility in LGBTQ+ advocacy as ammunition. You're out there, fighting for rights, Richard said quietly. Forking pad thai makes you a symbol. And symbols get shot at. By midnight, the rain had eased to a drizzle. City lights haloed in mist. Austin retired to the guest suite. The bed vast and impersonal. But sleep came fitful. Dreams tangled with camera lenses and Ethan's warm embrace. Down the hall, Richard sat in the dark study, laptop closed, staring at the family photo on his desk, Austin at 10. Gap-toothed grin, arm around his dad's neck. He dismantled the feed that night, but the images lingered, not of bodies, but of a son's unguarded joy. For the first time, Richard wondered if protection meant letting go. Morning broke gray and sodden, the city awakening with honks and sirens. Over coffee, black for Richard, oat milk latte for Austin. A concession to his West Coast ways, they plotted. The investigator, a no-nonsense ex-fed named Carla, arrived at 9. Her tablet spilling data, IP traces to a shell company owned by Victor Lang. Hale's nemesis in renewables. He's sloppy, Carla said. Scrolling. But dangerous. We bait him, leak a fake vulnerability through Austin's public profile. Draw him out. Austin's stomach twisted. His Instagram, at Austin Frames, 50K followers strong with prints of queer resilience, had become a beacon, but now a bullseye. Use me, he said, surprising himself. Post something personal. Make him think I'm exposed. Richard's protest died on his lips at the fire in Austin's eyes. Pride swelled. Unbidden. We'll do it together. The day blurred into strategy, Austin drafting a post about an upcoming exhibit, hinting at private life details. Richard's lawyers circling like hawks. By afternoon, the bait was live. A photo of Austin and Ethan's hands intertwined. Rings glinting. Captioned building forever. One frame at a time. Love wins so. Comments flooded, hearts. The occasional troll. But behind screens, Lang bit. That evening, as Austin paced the terrace overlooking the East River, phone buzzing with Ethan's voice notes, sounds intense. You okay? A ping from Carla, he's moving. Warehouse in Brooklyn tomorrow. Adrenaline surged, mingling with fear. This wasn't just corporate chess, it was his heart on the line. Richard joined him, 2 scotches in hand despite the early hour. You remind me of her. You know, he said, passing the glass. Your mother. Fearless. I was the coward, always calculating risks. Austin sipped, the burn grounding him. She left because you smothered her. Don't make the same mistake with me. The words hung, sharp but honest. Richard nodded, gaze distant. I won't. But promise me, after this, you'll visit more. Not for business. For us. A lump formed in Austin's throat. Deal. But you meet Ethan first. Properly. Richard's chuckle was rusty. A roughneck activist? God help me. I felt. The city a vein of light pulsing below. Austin lay awake, Ethan's last message glowing, "Can't wait to hold you. Whatever comes." He realized, wasn't the camera's cold eye, it was this. The tether across miles, pulling him home. The Brooklyn warehouse loomed like a forgotten relic on the waterfront, its rusted girders etched against the slate sky, the East River churning muddy secrets below. Austin gripped the steering wheel of the rented SUV, knuckles white, the wipers slashing rhythmically against the persistent drizzle. Richard sat shotgun, tie loosened, a Glock holstered discreetly under his jacket, just in case. Though his hands betrayed the tremor of a man who'd built fortunes but never faced the street. Carla tailed in an unmarked sedan. Her team fanned out in shadows, comms crackling softly in Austin's earpiece. "You sure about this?" Richard asked. Voice low, eyes scanning the chain-link fence ahead. Austin nodded, jaw set. "It's my life on the line." "Yeah, I'm sure." But doubt gnawed, Ethan's face flashing in his mind. That lazy grin over breakfast burritos. The way his fingers traced Austin's ribs like mapping constellations. This went south. What then? A quick glance at his phone. "Be safe. Call me after." It steadied him. That quiet anchor. They parked in the lot of a derelict cannery across the street, blending into the industrial decay. Carla's voice buzzed, "Lang's inside." "Two goons." "You two approach casual, photo scout, lost tourist vibe." "I'll cover. Casual." Right. Austin slung his camera bag over his shoulder. The Leica a prop but also a shield. Lens cap flipped like flipping off fate. They crossed the street. Boots splashing puddles. The air thick with salt and rust. At the gate, a burly guard in a ill-fitting suit eyed them. "Private property. Freelance shooter," Austin said, flashing a forged press badge. "Heard there's Urban Decay gold here. Mind if we poke around?" The guard hesitated, then shrugged, waving them through with a grunt. Inside, the warehouse gaped cavernous. Echoes bouncing off concrete pillars draped in graffiti, tags of rebellion. Faded rainbows mocking the peril. Pallets of stolen solar panels stacked high. Lang's petty empire of sabotage. Voices drifted from the far end, low, urgent, laced with menace. Austin's pulse thrummed. Each step a countdown. Richard walked beside him, the billionaire's poise cracking into something paternal, protective. "Stay close," he murmured. They rounded a corner, feigning interest in a shattered skylight, when a figure emerged, Victor Lang. Mid-40s, slick as oil, suit rumpled from haste. His eyes narrowed on Austin, recognition dawning like a predator's gleam. "Hale's boy. Didn't think you'd show." Austin's stomach dropped, but he held ground, camera rising instinctively. "Heard you like pictures. Thought I'd bring my own." Lang laughed, cold and clipped, gesturing to his men, twin towers of muscle, holsters bulging. "Bold. Or stupid. Your little post? Cute. But I know all about you." Austin Hale. The activist pretty boy. Flaunting your preferences for the cameras. Daddy's green empire crumbles when the world sees his heir's dirty laundry. Richard stepped forward, voice steel. "Enough games, Victor. Your threats end here. NYPD's outside, and my lawyers are hungry." Lang's smirk faltered, eyes darting. Bluff. You think I'd meet without insurance? He pulled a tablet from his coat. Tapping play. The screen flickered to life, grainy footage. Not Austin's apartment, but Ethan's rig in Texas. His parents' ranch where he'd grown up wrestling steers and hiding his truth. Ethan, laughing with his dad over beers. Oblivious. Then as still, Ethan alone. Horrible. A red sniper scope superimposed. You touch him, you die, Austin snarled, lunging. But Richard's hand clamped his arm. Steadying. Easy, Richard whispered. But his eyes blazed fury. To Lang, this is over. Walk away. Or we bury you. The standoff stretched. Air electric with standoff sweat. Lang's phone buzzed. He glanced. Face ashen. What the? Carla's voice cut through comms. Cops in position. He's done. Sirens wailed distant. Closing fast. Lang's goons shifted. Uneasy. And in the chaos, Austin snapped a shot. Lang's panic frozen in pixels. Evidence incarnate. The rival exec bolted. Men in tow. But not before Richard's calm command to Carla, take them. Handcuffs clicked. Statements given under fluorescent buzz. By dusk, Lang was in cuffs, his operation unraveling like cheap thread. Austin leaned against the SUV, rain washing grime from his face, the adrenaline crash leaving him hollow. Richard clapped his shoulder. Grip firm. You were brave, son. Braver than me. Austin met his gaze, the wall between them thinning. We both were. But it's not over till Ethan knows. Back at the penthouse, Austin collapsed onto the terrace chaise. City lights a comforting chaos. He video called Ethan, the screen blooming with his lover's face, wind-tousled blonde hair, green eyes crinkled in worry. Babe, you look like hell. Austin laughed. So drama. Dad's goons took down a stalker. Long story. Ethan's brow furrowed. Your dad? As in? The Ice King? Yeah. Turns out he's got a heart under the Armani. Austin glanced sidelong at Richard, hovering indoors, pretending to check emails. He's trying. They talked for hours, Ethan recounting a protest in Houston, Austin spilling the camera confession, the raw ache of violation. He saw us. All of it. And he didn't run. He fought for me. Ethan's voice softened, that Texas drawl wrapping like a blanket. Then maybe it's time he meets the man who stole his son's heart. The call ended with I love yous, and Austin slept dreamless. The first peace in days. Weeks blurred into a tentative rhythm. Austin extended his stay. The penthouse transforming from mausoleum to home, shared meals. Richard critiquing Austin's prints with unfeigned interest. Stories unearthed of young Richard. Wild pre-fortune days cruising village bars. Austin learned his father had loved a man once. Fleetingly. In boarding school shadows, a secret buried under denial. Emerging now in halting confessions over bourbon. You're not alone in this, Richard said one night. Skyline aglow. I was scared. For you. Of myself. Austin nodded. Throat tight. Fear's a liar. The loves the truth. The exhibit opened in Chelsea. Austin's Frames of Us, Portraits of Queer Lives. Ethan central in a triptych, hands calloused and gentle, eyes fierce with conviction. Richard attended. Suit traded for chinos. Mingling awkwardly but proudly. Lang's trial loomed. Threats evaporated, but deeper scars lingered. Ethan arrived unannounced, duffel in hand, filling the doorway with his solid warmth. Surprise. Cowboy. Austin pulled him close. Kiss salt-tinged. Richard watching from the hall with a nod that said welcome. Over dinner, steak at Peter Luger. Richard's treat, the three circled each other. Ethan grilled Richard on carbon offsets. Blunt but respectful, Richard countered with questions on grassroots activism. Genuine curiosity sparking. After came tentative. Then free, stories of Ethan's rodeo mishaps. Austin's lens capturing it all. As plates cleared, Richard raised his glass. To truths behind cameras. And the men brave enough to live them. Ethan's hand found Austin's under the table. Squeeze promising. In that moment, amid clinking crystal and city hum, Austin felt whole, love not spied upon, but shared. But shadows lingered. A week later, a package arrived at the penthouse, no sender. Single photo still faded. Austin and Richard, ages 8 and 35. Arms linked at a pride march. Before denial set in. Tucked inside, a note in Mom's script, I saw the light in you both. Forgive me for dimming it. Paris awaits if you're ready. Austin's chest ached. Layers peeling. He showed Richard, who traced the ink. Tears unashamed. She knew. All along, the call to Paris came dawn. Voices bridging oceans. Forgiveness a bomb. Ethan held Austin through it. His presence the steady beat. Yet conflict brewed subtle, Ethan's job pulling him west. Austin torn between coasts. Richard's plea to join the firm. Legacy with heart. Tensions simmered. Unspoken. Until a fight erupted, Ethan accusing Austin of hedging. Richard of manipulation. Choose, Ethan said. Voice breaking. Or the Empire. Austin walked the bridge that night. Brooklyn lights mocking his indecision. Dawn found him at Richard's door. I'm going home. To Ethan. To me. Richard pulled him into a hug. Fierce. Then go. Build your world. I'll visit, for the wedding. If you'll have me. Wedding. The word hung. Seed planted. The drive back to L.A. was a ribbon of blacktop unspooling under star-strewn skies. Ethan at the wheel of his battered Ford. Austin shotgun with feet on dash. Camera in lap. The Grand Canyon yawned to their left. A chasm of red rock scarred by time. Mirroring the raw edges they'd exposed in that brutal fight. Ethan's profile was etched in dashboard glow, strong nose. Faint freckles from Texas suns. Lips pressed thin against the silence that had stretched since Albuquerque. You gonna say it? Or let it fester? Ethan finally asked. Voice gravel rough. Eyes fixed on the horizon. Austin sighed, twisting the leather strap of his Leica. I'm sorry. For waffling. For letting Dad's world pull me back in. He reached over. Fingers brushing Ethan's thigh. Denim warm under his palm. You're my north. Always. Ethan's hand covered his. Squeeze forgiving but firm. Then act like it. No more half measures. That photo series? Killer. But if you're chasing legacy, chase ours. The words landed true. stirring the embers of resolve. Back in Echo Park, their bungalow, vine-choked, porch swing creaking, welcomed them with the scent of jasmine and home-cooked chili from neighbor Mrs. Please. They tumbled into bed, bodies reconnecting in urgent grace, Ethan's mouth mapping collarbones, Austin's nails raking broad backs, gasps swallowed in the dark. Lovemaking as apology, as affirmation, slow builds to shattering releases, afterglow tangled limbs and whispers of marry me for real. Ethan had joked about it in Palm Springs. Twine rings childish but sacred. But post-lang, post-reckoning, it felt inevitable. Austin sketched proposals in his journal, desert sunset, vow under canyon stars. Richard officiating? No, too loaded. Simple, courthouse. Then Joshua Tree reception. Queer kin toasting under Milkway blaze. But life intruded. Dramatic as a Scorsese cut. Austin's agent called mid-morning coffee. A gallery in Soho wanted frames of us for a month-long solo. But with a twist, collaborate with Richard. Your dad's offering sponsorship. Thinks it'll bridge worlds. Corporate cash for queer art. Austin's gut twisted, handing the phone to Ethan. What do you think? Ethan listened, brow furrowed. Then, if it's your call. Not his puppet strings. Make it scream you. The decision nod. Echoing in late-night runs along the Hollywood Reservoir. Austin's sneakers pounding doubts. Richard flew out. Suit swapped for jeans. Meeting them at a Venice Beach taco truck, greasy carnitas. Ocean roar drowning awkward hellos. No pressure, he said. Lime juice dripping. But imagine, hail green tech funding queer voices. Redemption arc. Ethan snorted, but softened over beers. Redemption's earned, not bought. But if Austin's in, he was. The collaboration bloomed, Austin curating, Richard underwriting scholarships for young LGBTQ+ artists. Exhibit prep consumed weeks, studio sessions with Ethan hauling frames, Richard video calling critiques, his Manhattan office backdrop a portal to tentative kinship. Opening night crackled electric, Soho loft pulsing with bodies, air thick with perfume and possibility. Austin in slim black jeans, shirt and Ethan's arm possessive around his waist. Richard arrived fashionably late. Elena on his arm. Wait, a date? Silver-haired professor. Hand in hand. Eyes warm on Austin. David, Richard introduced. Voice proud. He's important. Austin's shock melted to grin. Dad. The crowd swelled, activists, collectors, trolls turned allies. Lang's shadow? Footnote. Trial yielding community grants from seized assets. But midway, conflict ignited, a rival curator, jealous of the buzz, cornered Austin, Daddy's money or your merit? Be honest. The barb struck deep. Old insecurities flaring. Austin shoved through the throng. Out to the fire escape. City sprawl a vertigo drop. Ethan found him. Green eyes searching. Hey. Breathe. It's bullshit, Austin choked. Rain then starting to spit. What if he's right? What if I'm just the spoiled heir playing bohemian? Ethan cupped his face. Thumbs brushing tears. You're the man who captured my soul in pixels. Who fought goons for us. That's merit. Austin Hale. Kiss them. Kiss. Claiming, tongues and teeth. Rain slicking skin. Inside. Richard overheard the exchange, later pulling Austin aside. He's wrong. You're more than my name. But if doubt lingers. No, I see you. All of you. The night peaked in toasts, Ethan's impromptu speech. Texas twang booming, to Austin, who frames the invisible. And Richard, learning to let light in. A slow dance on the loft floor, Austin and Ethan swaying to indie folk. Richard with David, worlds colliding soft. Post-exhibit high faded into planning fever. Wedding date, June. Solstice sun. Venue, Friends Ranch outside Santa Fe. Adobe arches framing desert vastness. Invites hand-stamped. Guest list eclectic, Ethan's roughneck cousins. Austin's art collective. Richard's select board, minus prudes. But betrayals go stirred. A week out, Austin's email pinged, leaked memos from Hale Industries. Anonymous source accusing Richard of greenwashing, funding Austin's show to deflect scandal. Press frenzy erupted. Headlines screaming billionaire buys son's silence. Austin's world tilted. At the bungalow, he confronted Richard via video. Screen-splitting fury. Is it true? The sponsorship, a cover. Richard's face crumpled. Denial crumbling. Partially. Lang's allies planted the leaks. But timing helped PR. But the heart? That was real. For you. Betrayal burned. Fresh as the cameras blink. Used me. Again. I swear. Save it. Austin logged off. Hurling his laptop. Screen cracking like trust. Ethan walked in mid-rage. Pulling him down. Holding through sobs. He'll fix it. Or we walk. Your call. Nights blurred, Austin dodging calls. Sketching wedding vows in charcoal fury, promises of unfiltered truth. Thin anchored. Cooking gumbo. Making love under ceiling fan work. Bodies a refuge. Richard arrived uninvited. Knocking at dawn. Eyes red-rimmed. I flew commercial. No jets for apologies. He sat on the porch swing. David waiting in the rental car. The memos? Tufters. I pulled funding from dirty suppliers pre-exhibit. Leaks twisted it. But the using you. Found that. Old habits. Austin leaned on the rail. Arms crossed. Why can't you just be my dad? Not the fixer. Because I lost your mother to my flaws. Feared losing you. Richard stood. Voice breaking. Marry him anyway. I'll step back. No strings. The plea pierced. Ethan joined. Hand on Austin's back. Sit. Talk. Hours unfolded. Confessions deep as canyons. Richard's college lover. Shamed into straight marriage. Austin's camp horrors. Scars fading but tender. By noon. Tacos devoured. A pact. Richard testifies publicly. Exposes the leaks. Funds the scholarships independently. Healing tentative. But real. Wedding eve. Rehearsal under Santa Fe stars. Richard walking Austin down the sagebrush aisle. Whisper, I'm proud. Of the man you love. Of us. Dawn broke golden. Guests assembling, 50 souls. Rainbow spectrum. Ethan in linen shirt. Boots scuffed. Waiting at archway woven with wildflowers. Austin approached. Heartful. Richard's hand warm till release. Vows exchanged, Ethan steady, I choose you. Storms and all, Austin's tear-choked, you saw me when I hid. Forever starts now. Rings slid on, silver bands etched with coordinates of their first kiss. Kiss sealed it? Cheers erupting. Richard's clap loudest. David beside him. Fingers laced. But climax brewed in the reception tent. Fairy lights twinkling. A courier arrived, envelope for Richard. Face draining as he read. Lang's out. Bill. He's coming. Panic rippled. Ethan tensed, we end this, but Austin stepped forward. Voice steel. Not tonight. But we face it. Together. Sheriff called. Roadblocks set. Lang's car found crashed. But hunted. The threat? Neutralized by dawn. FBI closing net. Relief washed. Party resuming fiercer. Dances wild. Toast slurred. Austin and Ethan slipped away to Mesa Edge. Blankets spread. Stars blanket. Scared. Ethan murmured. Head on Austin's chest. Terrified. But alive. Austin traced the eagle tattoo. This is us. Unspied. Unbroken. The honeymoon cabin nestled in the aspens of Aspen. Ironic? Richard's gift. But untainted now, whispered with wind through leaves. A cocoon from the world's grind. Austin woke to Ethan's snoring. Soft rumble against his neck. The king bed a tangle of limbs and flannel sheets. Sun slanted through pine shutters, gilding the stubble on Ethan's jaw. The lazy sprawl of his body, broad chest rising steady, arms slung possessive over Austin's waist. 30. Ethan was a landscape of earned strength, faded scars from rig accidents. The eagle tattoo flexing with each breath. A testament to flights taken and cages escaped. Austin traced the ink. Fingers light. Memory flooding, that first night in Palm Springs. Motel room sticky with desert heat. Ethan's confessions spilling between kisses, growing up queer in oil country. Bible belts and bar brawls. The relief of Austin's gaze. Unjudging. Love had bloomed there. Roots deep as canyon stone. Weathering the storms of cameras and corporate knives. They delayed the trip a week. Lang's recapture demanding statements, Austin's testimony crisp. Unflinching. Broadcast on CNN. Richard beside him. Hand on shoulder. The mogul's mea culpa went viral. Press conference admitting past failings. Pledging Hale Industries to full queer advocacy. Scholarships doubling. Headlines shifted, from shadows to allies. Hale's redemption, but Austin measured success in quieter metrics. Richard's texts. Miss you already. David's cooking is tolerable. But in this altitude-thin air, the world felt distant, conquerable. Ethan stirred. Green eyes blinking open. Grin crooked. Mornin'. Shutterbug. Plotting shots already. Austin chuckled. Rolling atop him. Morningwood pressing insistent. Just you. Always. Their lovemaking unfolded lazy. Unhurried, lips exploring hollows. Hips grinding slow. Climaxes whispered into skin. Showers steaming. Coffee brewed on a battered percolator. They hiked the trails. Hands linked. Banter light. But emotion simmered beneath. The wedding's high yielding to introspection. Over lunch, picnic of cheese and prosciutto on a ridge overlooking snow-capped peaks, Austin voiced it. Dad's changing. For real. But what about us? Echo Park's home. But your work's pulling you to DC, that Sierra Club gig. Ethan popped a grape. Thuffle. It's a crossroads. Yeah. Lobbying means suits and schmoozing, not boots and mud. But if we're building, it's maybe surrogacy dreams, stability matters. 'Cause the word hung, thrilling and terrifying. Austin had sketched nurseries in idle moments, envisioning tiny hands with Ethan's curls, his hazel stare. DC's got schools, history. But LA's light, our light. Ethan leaned in, kiss tasting of salt and future. We'll figure it. Like always, back in the city, autumn leaves turned Central Park gold. The loft they'd rented in Chelsea a bridge, Ethan commuting for interviews. Austin's darkroom humming with new series, Unseen Bonds, portraits of fathers and queer sons. Richard first subject. Gaze vulnerable under studio lights. Drama flared subtle, David's ex. A bitter academic. Leaked old emails, Richard's college fling. Twisted into scandal fodder. Tabloids bade billionaires' secret past, hypocrite or hero. Richard weathered it stoic. But Austin saw the toll, sleepless eyes at family dinner. David's hand steady. You okay? Austin asked post-meal. Dishes clinking. Ethan charming plates from Richard with tales of Gulf sunsets. Richard poured brandy. Shoulders slumping. Old ghosts. But David's worth it. And you? Seeing you happy? That's the win. Austin hugged him. Fierce, first unprompted since boyhood. You're enough. Ghosts and all. The holidays anchored them, Thanksgiving at the ranch. Ethan's kin grilling turkey and acceptance. Richard carving with awkward flair. Christmas in Paris, mom's flat overlooking Seine. Her painter husband a quiet artist. Tears and toasts mending frayed threads. I ran from fear, she confessed over escargot. Eyes on Austin. Don't you dare. New year dawned with resolutions whispered, Ethan accepting DC. Austin pitching a foundation, Hale-funded but independent. Queer Arts Global. Relocation loomed. Boxes packed amid laughter and laments. Spring brought bloom, Austin's nausea. Then joy, surrogacy confirmed. A baby girl due winter. Ultrasounds grainy miracles. Ethan's hand on belly. Richard's calls weekly. Grandpa? Suits me. But climax crested in summer heat. DC. Townhouse unpacked. Boxes echoing empty. A call from Carla. Lang. Escaped again. Whispers of revenge. Austin's blood iced. Ethan pacing. Richard jetting east incognito. The safe house, Virginia woods. Anonymous cabin, smelled of pine and paranoia. Nights wired. Days planning, FBI nets tightening. But Lang's taunt email arrived. Cameras lied once. Truth's in the blood. Dread coiled. Richard confessed. Voice hollow, he knows about the baby. From old feeds. Betrayals echo. But Austin raged outward. We end him. Now. Stakeout dawn, woods dripping dew. Breaths fogged. Lang emerged. Ghost in camo. Pistol glinting. Chaos erupted, shots cracking. Ethan tackling Austin clear. Richard's shout drawing fire. Carla's team swarmed. Lang down in tangle of limbs. Cuffed and cursing. In the aftermath, hospital sterile. Austin's cheek stitched from a graze. Ethan's arm in sling, Richard unscathed but shattered. I started this, he said. Bedside vigil. No, Austin gripped his hand. You fought it. With us. Recovery wove tighter, therapy sessions triune. Scars bared. Baby's first kick. Felt over video. Richard weeping. Foundation launch, gala in D.C. Richard's speech raw, from spying to seeing. Love demands witness. Not walls. Fall deepened. Leaves crimson. Austin labored in home office. Book compiling unseen, forward by Richard. Dedication to Ethan. To the man who framed my forever. Winter broke with cries, Eleanor rose, named for lost loves. Tiny fists waving. Richard arrived first. Suchit. Cradling her with awe. She's perfect. Like her dad's. Baptism under cherry blossoms, non-denominational. Kin gathered. Vows renewed casual, Ethan still choosing you. Austin's every day. Years folded, Eleanor toddling. Chasing fireflies in backyard. Richard's visits monthly. David uncle by bond. Austin's lenses captured it. Family portraits? No hidden eyes. Porch swing creaking. Eleanor asleep inside. Thin poured wine. Regrets. Austin leaned. Head on shoulder. None. Cameras led here, to truth. To us. Richard's card arrived. Thanksgiving? David's turkey's improving. The swing swayed. Stars wheeling. In the quiet, love's depth hummed, dramatic, emotional, right? Human. A wedding born of spied secrets, enduring in light.